gladiators battled to the death. Tonight, the world's best poker players battled for cash and a prize pool worth more than $1.25 million.
The World Poker Tour charges into the Commerce Casino for the LA Poker Classic.
Poker Tour travels the globe featuring the biggest games and largest payouts on the planet. Tonight, we're at the Commerce Casino in Los Angeles for the latest stop in this high-stakes journey around the world. It costs $10,000 to enter the LA Poker Classic. More than 130 poker players took up the challenge, knowing only 6 would survive to compete at the WPT final table. Tonight's winner also earns a spot in the World Poker Tour Championship at the end of the year, where they'll face off against the other title holders for millions in winnings. Now, down to the WPT Arena, where poker champion Mike Sexton and Hollywood home game ambassador Vince Van Patten are standing by for the call of tonight's action.
Hi everyone, welcome to the World Poker Tour. I'm Mike Sexton along with Vince Van Patten. We are in Commerce, California for the LA Poker Classic.
And Mike, we have come to the right place for poker. We are at the Commerce Casino, which is the largest poker casino in the world, bar none. I mean, if you want to play poker, name the game, they play it here. Any game you want. This is poker heaven in the land of stars.
Well, Vince, we had plenty of stars that played this tournament this week. We started 4 days ago with 136 players, each of whom put up $10,000 to enter this tournament. We are now down to our final 6 players, and the winner of this event is going to take home over $500,000.
Absolutely. Now, that is a huge prize pool, even by World Poker Tour standards.
Well, you're right, Vince, but there's more to it than just the money. In addition to winning today, the winner gets that coveted $25,000 entry into the World Poker Tour Championship Final that's coming up in just a few weeks. So, Vince, whoever wins today is going to have a seat at Bellagio with their name on it, and that could be worth another couple of million.
Absolutely. There's a lot at stake here, so it's going to be very exciting. A lot of cold, hard cash. Let's meet the players.
Well, Vince, as I see it, of these 6 players, we have 3 tournament experienced veterans that have been in this position before, and we have 3 Cinderellas trying to put on the glass slipper. In fact, our chip leader is one of those Cinderellas. His name is Danny Rentzer. He's a 26-year-old student from Santa Monica, California. He is starting the day with $499,000 in chips, and with that amount, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely, Mike. Now, our second player in second chip position is a guy we've seen before on the World Poker Tour. He won the event at the Bellagio. He is a true gambler by nature. That's the kind of guy he is. It's Gus Hansen, and he has about $315,000 worth of chips.
And believe me, these people are going to love to watch Gus play. He fires from the hip, sensational player. In third chip position is Andy Block. Now, you may remember Andy because he made a World Poker Tour final event at Foxwoods. He finished in third position there. He's looking to move up today and capture the whole shebang. And with $284,000 in chips, he's in position to do just that.
Okay, in fourth chip position is a guy that everyone respects in the poker world, David the Dragon Pham. He was the poker champion last year throughout the world. He's a very, very exciting player. He has $137,000 worth of chips.
In fifth chip position with $80,000 in chips is Bob Stupek. Now, you may recognize that name. He's a Las Vegas legend, the Bob Stupek, the casino mogul, the guy who brought the stratosphere to Las Vegas. Now, Bob's been playing poker a long time, but he is one of the Cinderellas to win this tournament today.
Steve Skolnick is our next player. He has $46,000. This is not a professional player. He's an amateur. He's actually a production manager in Hollywood. He does a lot of Hollywood movies and stuff. He just happened to come on down here, and he has about $46,000, so it should be very interesting.
Remember, these guys all started with $10,000 in chips. After several days of non-stop poker, they battled down to the final table, which is what we'll be watching tonight. And while the players with more chips do have an advantage, anything can happen, and often does in poker. This is it, Vince. We're about to get underway.
Here we go, right here in L.A., the land of style and wealth. It's going to be on Mr. David Pham to act first.
David's nickname is the Dragon. We'll see how much fire he breathes today.
It looks like he's going to come out and play a little bit with this.
Well, David is a sensational poker player. He was the Tournament Poker Player of the Year in 2000. Great no-limit hold'em player.
He's going to raise it up.
And he does. He fires up the first pot.
Daniel's going out with 7-10 of hearts. Gus is going out also.
Gus passes.
Ace-6 offsuit for Gus. Bob Stupek folds a 9-10 offsuit.
The great thing about being on the World Poker Tour is we get to see these guys' cards. We get into the minds of these great poker players, and it is a true thrill to see it.
Andy Block has nothing in a small blind. Steve Skolnick with the queen 3. He's not going to call a raise either with that hand, and David the Dragon Pham picks up the first pot.
Nice play by David. He is the Dragon, and he did take the pot.
Well, he's feeling good, Vince, because there's a lot at stake here today. First prize is over $500,000. Total prize pool of $1,360,000.
Well, look at this. Now, Daniel Renser has a pair of 3s, and he threw it away, Mike. Just like that.
And look at Gus. He's firing it out there with 1 3. He's got a 3 and a 7 in his hand. He's raising the pot. This guy is amazing.
Mr. Guts. He goes out there with nothing. And look, he's trying to take this pot. Bob Stupek's going out. The lawyer from Maryland, Andy Block, a great poker player, has got a pair of 10s in his hand.
Now, Andy, I think, is the only player at the table that is not going to be afraid to play with Gus. I think everybody else is a little bit scared of him because they know Gus can show up with anything. You can never put him on a hand.
I was just calling with a pair of 10s wired in his hand.
He calls him.
The production manager, Steve Skolnick, works in Los Angeles on films, has got a king jack in his hand, and he's going to throw it away.
Steve folds out of the small blind.
David the Dragon's thinking about playing here, too. A lot of action early on here in L.A. David's going out, so it's heads up. Gus and Andy both at a final table before.
As we know, Gus won the first event at Bellagio. Andy finished 3rd at Foxwoods. Here comes the flop. Ace 9-9.
Okay, it's a pair of 9s.
Now, this is no help to either player.
Gives Andy Block 10s and 9s, but he's got to be scared of an ace. What if Gus has an ace?
Of course you're scared of an ace.
It's going to be on Gus first. He's in the hot seat. What's he going to do?
Well, he raised before the flop. He knows he got called. He is going to fire at this pot. It looks like he's getting out some chips. On a stone bluff, if he bets here, he has absolutely nothing.
He's got nothing. And look at that. I love this guy.
Folks, throw your poker books away. Huh? It's not going to tell you to bet out with a 7 and a 3.
Now, what would you do? You're Andy Block. You have 10s and 9s. But this maniac in front of you just bet into you.
Let me tell you.
He could have an ace.
He's got the best hand with 10s and 9s, but this is a very, very tough call to make here with 2 10s when you're looking at an ace on the board. Remember, the guy raised before the flop. He bet on the flop. What a tough call right here by Andy Block.
And it's early, too, in the tournament. You don't want to get knocked out on the second hand.
Andy's looking him up. What a nice call right here by Andy Block. With 2 10s. It's not easy to make that call when you're looking at an ace on the board, folks.
No, it's not. We're going to see the 4th card. Here it is.
An 8 comes off. No help to anybody. Now, Gus checks. He knows if Andy called there with a flop ace 9-9, he's got something. He's not going to bluff at it again, doesn't it look like.
Last card.
The last card doesn't help either player.
Now, if Gus checks here, he's essentially just saying, go ahead and take it. He's just giving it up to Andy. But remember, Andy called a raise. He called a bet on the flop. Gus doesn't want to lose any more chips in this pot, and he does. He gives up the pot to Andy Block. Gus turns up the 7-3, proudly shows it to everybody.
2 10s for Andy.
There it is. Andy's going to take that pot home. Now, you know, we saw Andy before at a final table on the World Poker Tour, and he did not look nearly as confident as he looks right now.
He did finish 3rd in that event, though. Today, he's starting out in 3rd chip position. He wants to move up a little bit on that spot.
There's 2 short stacks to my left and 1 to my right, and that should work out okay. I like my position right now.
I do think he's going to be more relaxed and feel much more at home in this event than he did the first time around. For those of you that are new to the game, we've got a quick tutorial on how to play Texas Hold'em. The game is No Limit Hold'em, the Cadillac of poker. It's a game that takes a minute to learn and a lifetime to master. To start, each player is dealt 2 cards face down. Then, 5 community cards, cards everyone can play, are placed face up on the table. Each player combines their 2 hidden down cards with the community cards to make their best 5-card poker hand.
And betting is really what this game is all about. Let me explain. You get your first 2 cards, you make a bet. Then the dealer puts the first 3 community cards on the table. In poker, we call this the flop. They bet again. Then the dealer puts the 4th community card on the table. This is called the turn card. Once again, big round of betting. Then the last card. We call this the river. It's turned up on the table. They make a big last round of betting. Turn your cards over. You see who wins.
They call it No Limit Hold'em because there's no limit on how much a player can bet. At any moment, he can declare that he is all in and push all of his chips into the pot.
Right, and that makes chip position, or how many chips you have, very, very important in this game. Okay, it's going to be on Gus first. He's going to throw this one away.
Gus folds.
Now you talk about a living legend, Bob Stupek in C2. This guy practically built Vegas.
He is a Las Vegas legend, no doubt about it.
He's one heck of a poker player, though. He's got a Jack-8 offsuit.
Now, what is he thinking about doing here? He has a Jack-8 offsuit.
I don't know, but what's he going crazy here?
He says he's all in. He's putting all his chips in the pot right here. Almost 80,000 on a Jack-8 offsuit.
Man, unorthodox play. He's going for it. Now he's got to push out Andy Block. He's got a 3-5. He's gone. Steve is gone with 8-10.
Bob Stupek making a very bold move right here.
But look, the Dragons threw him through Ace-7 away. And the kid, Daniel Rentzer's taking a look here. He's got 4-9 offsuit.
Well, we know he's not going to play that. You're not going to call a bet with that hand.
No, he's not.
Daniel passes. Bob wins the blinds and antes.
And Bob's going to win this pot. A nice play.
Bob Stupek picks up the pot with a bluff there. He's into all kinds of promotions and gadgets, and he's a promoter extraordinaire, Bob Stupek.
Absolutely. One of the greats in Vegas, built the stratosphere, for Pete's sakes.
To attack is to win. To defend is to lose. That's probably the best way to size up poker. Need a drink after all this.
Bob says he needs a drink after that one.
Look at it. It's on Bob again. He's got a 4-8 of clubs.
He is one of a kind, the Polish Maverick. Poker players nickname him the Mayor. He once ran for the mayor of Las Vegas. He didn't win, but poker players still call him the Mayor.
Bob passes.
He can play anything, but he's not going to play that one. Andy Block's got an Ace-8. And look at this. He's going to raise it with an Ace-8 offsuit, Mike.
Comes in for 18,000. Nice aggressive play right here.
Steve Skolnick is going away with a King-Deuce. The Dragon.
Stephen
He folds.
Daniel passes.
Daniel with a 3-9 folds, and here comes Gus.
More.
Gus is calling him.
2.
Look at this. Gus has a Deuce-4, and he's calling him.
Oh, yeah, that's a big hand for Gus.
This is unbelievable.
Here's the flop.
You call a raise with a Deuce-4 offsuit.
9-8-5.
That amazes me.
Andy's got a pair of 8s
Gus
out
checks
there.
And Andy checks.
But he's going to check.
Now they both check on the flop.
This card is a 10.
And he's still in front with the 8s. Look at his look, though. He's studying Gus.
Look at this.
He's going to bet.
18. That's
Gus bets
18,000.
18,000. Now remember, Gus has a Deuce and a 4. Absolutely nothing. Again, a very tough call to make right here by Andy Block, and he has made it with
Andy
a pair
calls.
of 8s.
Andy knows this guy's M.O., and he knows he bluffs a lot.
Last card is a jack.
Now look at this. A Jack comes off. Now that makes a 4-card straight out there. Jack 10, 9, 8. Now the action is on Gus again. Now Gus has absolutely nothing. A Deuce and a 4.
Just say no, Gus. Just say no.
Now he has called a raise with a Deuce and a 4. He has bet with a Deuce and a 4. And now it's his turn again.
Well, this would show tremendous courage. I don't see how anyone can do it. Make a bet into this type of board.
Can you believe this guy's going to bet again? Gus does know it's the only way you can win this pot is to bluff. Now look at Andy. He's holding his head down. He doesn't even want to see him bet here. He doesn't even want to see him bet.
Talk about courage. This
I'm
is an
telling you.
amazing bet, whether he gets called or not.
36,000. Unbelievable right here. Now, you're at Andy. You got the 4th pair on the board right now with an open-end straight draw. I don't see how you can possibly call this bet.
I mean, Gus bets 36,000 with that board. I mean, it's like he's betting a luxury car there of real money, and he's going to win this pot, Mike.
Andy folds his. I'll tell you one thing. You have to admire Andy for calling on 4th Street there. But you certainly can't fault Andy for folding that hand. I don't think anybody could make a call right there when a guy fires 36,000 into that pot with a Jack 10, 9, 8 on the board. Unbelievable aggressive play by Gus Hansen. Vince, if Gus Hansen is going to play hands like that, he's either going to win this thing or be out rather quickly.
Well, let's not forget, Gus Hansen is trying to become the first 2-time winner on the WPT Tour. Now, either way, whatever he does, this guy is just a great player to watch.
So stay with us. We're coming back to the final table here at the Commerce Casino in just a minute.
From Hollywood, Costa Rica, Aruba, and San Francisco. The finest poker from around the world. More to come on the World Poker Tour. It's fun!
Hello, Mr. Cunningham. Alan, it's a big pot out there, buddy. I'm all in. Don't be scared.
I call.
Only a donkey would make that call.
We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
Welcome back to the Commerce Casino and the LA Poker Classic on the World Poker Tour. Gus Hansen and Andy Block, the two heavyweights at the table, have already started to mix it up. But Vegas legend Bob Stupak and David the Dragon Pham have come to play, showing they can be aggressive and dangerous. The final table is heating up as these six warriors go after a prize pool worth $1.3 million.
Okay.
Andy's the first to act here, and he picks up a 5-7 offsuit. He folds.
Andy folds in first position.
Steve Skolnick with a 7-8 also folds.
David the Dragon Pham has 6-3 offsuit, but look at this. He's going to play it.
Well, he's making a move to pick up this pot. He's stealing it. Looks like some of Gus is rubbing off on him.
He's going to call it. Look at that. I tell you, these guys are playing crazy here today. Now, Daniel Rentzer, the kid, he's got a real hand. He's got ace-10 of hearts.
He quickly calls with ace-10 of hearts on the button in favorable position.
Now, look at this. Our man, Gus Hansen. Don't
Daniel
do it,
calls
Gus. He's got a 3-2 again. Junk hand, Mike.
He just doesn't want to throw it away. Look at him. It pains him to throw a hand away, this guy.
This guy never met a hand he didn't like.
How do you play with a 3 and a deuce when a guy's raised and another guy's called? I mean, unbelievable that Gus could even think about playing this hand when it's been raised and called in front of him, and he's looking at a 3-deuce offsuit.
He's gonna fold. Mr. Stupak has a king-3, both diamonds, and he's thinking about it. I love the way these guys are playing. Everyone's bluffing here early on. Now, Stupak has a king-3 of diamonds.
Now, when it comes to be Bob Stupak's turn, folks, do not get in a hurry. You can go get a cup of coffee. I mean, he is a very slow player, very methodical. He's not going to rush any play. So he may act like he's taking a long decision. He knows he's going to fold all the time, but, you know, he does not rush anything, Bob Stupak.
You talk about casual. Gus Hansen's taking a little fruit break. You know, go in with 2-4, win a pot, eat a banana.
I mean, what can you say about this guy?
Very nonchalant, Gus Hansen. But Bob Stupak has a decision here. He wants to stick around. Maybe he can get lucky on a flop. No, he's going to throw it away. And here we go. We're going to see a flop.
Flop comes ace.
Ace, king, 9. Now, David has a 6 and a 3. I mean, he must be getting vibes from Gus or something here.
20,000.
Here he comes firing out.
20,000.
Well, Daniel's got aces with 3 hearts.
Daniel quickly beats him in the pot with an ace-10 of hearts. Didn't even hesitate. And right now you can see the concerned look on the Dragon's face here right now.
Next card.
Look at this. Jack comes off. Daniel's flopped an inside straight draw.
David is drawing completely dead. There's no card that can come up for him to win this pot.
What is he doing in this pot? The Dragon is just...
They both check.
Floundering around there.
And it goes check, check.
Last card of
Now the
9.
board pairs 9s. David's made his efforts to win this pot. He's got called before the flop. He got called on the flop. I don't know that he's going to want to give up much more of his money in this pot because he doesn't have much more to give up.
Look at Daniel just staring.
And he doesn't. He
They
checks.
both check again.
Okay.
David says no pair.
Daniel Rentzer
Ace
picks
10
up the
of hearts
pot.
for Daniel.
David,
Daniel's going to win
a
this
little
one.
embarrassed
Aces
by
and
that
9s.
play because we get to see your cards. But you know what? It's a brave attempt. You got to take shots like that.
David Pham in early position with the amount of chips that he has in this tournament. You know, I'm not sure raising in that position is a very smart move.
Okay, well, David's going to go out this time, and Daniel's going up with a 10-jack. He's going to raise this, Mike.
Bring it in with a raise.
He is. He's come in for 16,000.
And there you go, Slim. Are you happy?
Our man Gus plays usually anything. Is not going to play an ace-3. Now we're on Mr. Bob Stupak.
Now, Bob only has a jack-4 offsuit here.
Gus passes.
Now we saw him play a crazy hand a few hands back that he went all in with.
But he led at that pot.
Yes,
I can't imagine he's going to call a bet here with a jack-4 offsuit.
You want to call?
Huh?
You want to call?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
I only got two jacks.
Why do you think I'm raising? I want somebody to call me.
I only got two jacks. I'm not going to play anything less than two queens.
Look at him. He's lying. He says he only has a pair of jacks. He's trash talking. All allowed in poker. Sometimes encouraged.
So don't do soft suit?
No, it's a big hand.
No.
Bob folds.
He pitches him away.
Andy's got a pair of fives. It's pretty solid in a six-handed game.
He's got the speed limit hand, 2 5s.
And he's going to call it.
55, and here he comes.
Andy's going to call from the small
And he
blind.
does call it.
Steve Skolnick has a
Total
jack
bet is
4.
16,000. It's 10,000 to Steve.
Also the short stack in the tournament is Steve. He's going to have to make a move before too long, but not this hand.
Flop
Can't
between
play that.
Andy and Daniel.
Dragon's going to go out 2. And here we go. We're going to see a flop. Pair of 5s against jack 10. Now look at
Flop comes
that.
King 10 trade.
Daniel Lorenzo's gotten lucky. He's got a pair of 10s on the flop. And it's going to be on Andy first. Look at him checking out the youngster, Daniel.
This is not a very attractive flop for a pair of 5s.
No. But he's going to...
20,000.
He's going to bet 20,000, and look at this.
Quick call by
Daniel
Daniel.
just beat him in the pot almost. Now that may put the brakes on Andy. Look at the concerned look on his face. He's not happy there.
No.
The man beat him in the pot.
Here comes the next card of 7. It's not going to help either player.
They both check.
And check, check.
Last
Last card to come off is a 9.
Andy checks.
Andy's checking it.
Andy checks again.
Daniel wants more.
Look at this now.
20,000.
He's bet 20,000 with a pair of 10s here, the second pair. Pretty daring bet on his part, I think, right here, betting a pair of 10s. Andy folded his 2 5s. But what a bet right there by Daniel Renser.
Yeah, this guy's amazing. You know, he didn't even put up all the money for the tournament. He got in through a satellite. I think he put up $100 or $200, beat a whole big field, got in this tournament, and now he's the chip leader.
I don't consider myself a professional poker player. I love the game. Like this tournament here, I'm just playing for fun. I'm just trying to play my best, and if I win, I win.
Well, Vince, the youngest player at the table, Daniel Renser, adds to his chip lead. 27-year-old's got a chance to win over $500,000 here.
It's Andy's button.
All right.
This is going to be quite a parlay. This guy's got a chance to hit right here. For $100, he could turn it into over $500,000.
Daniel looks at his hand. He is going out. And Gus has finished his fruit break, and he's coming back in.
Here comes Gatling gun Gus. He's firing again.
It's going to be on Bob Stupek, who's just picked up a pair of 5s.
60,000.
And look at this. He's getting ready. Aim. Fire,
He's
Bob.
going all in with the 2 5s. Is he speeding with the 2 5s here?
This guy doesn't care. This guy knows how to play poker.
Well, it's not so good because right behind him, Andy Block has picked up 2 jacks.
Oh, man, what a crushing blow.
Andy says, how much is it?
It's 78.
It's $78,000.
Oh, that's tough to throw away. You know Bob's now in trouble. But Andy calls his hand.
Look at Bob Stupek. He is eyeing Andy right now.
All in with.
He knows he's in trouble if he gets called here. Takes his glasses off.
Andy has called.
And he's getting called right now by Andy Block.
Yes, he is. He's getting called.
With the 2 jacks. And now look at Steve Skolnick. And he's picked up ace jack of diamonds.
Oh, yeah, he's finally got a pretty good hand.
First hand I see. Look what I'm up against. Holy cow.
Steve says
What do you
it's
do
the
with
first
it?
hand
It's
he's
always
looked at.
about decisions here in poker.
Well, I would triple up. Quadruple up. But then I risk getting knocked out and not moving up a spot. Oh, man.
Can he make the right move? And by the way, you got David Pham behind you. You never know what he's going to do. And wild man Gus Hansen is still in the pot, of course.
Yeah, I just got to hope you got him.
Well, he's going to go away.
And Steve lets us
Steve
know.
folds. David folds. Gus throws away the queen 5. So we have Bob Stupek with 2 5s, Andy Block with 2 jacks.
Pair of jacks against a pair of 5s. The Polish Maverick is really up against it here. He is going to need some big-time help to stay in the tournament.
Stay with us. We're coming right back to the LA Poker Classic here on the World Poker Tour.
This is the World Poker Tour, coming to you from the Commerce Casino in Los Angeles, California. One of the top showmen in Las Vegas history is hoping for help as Bob Stupak has bet all his chips on a small pair. But former lawyer and MIT graduate Andy Block made a smart play, calling Bob's bet, and now he could send Stupak to the sidelines.
Welcome back. Well, Bob Stupak is up against it here, Vince. He has 2 5s. Andy Block has 2 jacks. Bob Stupak is going to have to get awful lucky to stay alive in this tournament. Right now, Andy Block is about a 4.5 to 1 favorite to win this pot.
And they haven't turned their hands over yet, which they're going to do now. Wait till you see the look on Bob's face.
Jack for Andy.
Oh, he doesn't look at him. He's checking it out again.
Yeah.
He doesn't quite see it yet.
Yeah, he's not going to like to see it.
Uh-oh. The agony of defeat. There it is.
You can't fault Bob Stupak for moving over the top with 2 5s. He was just unfortunate. He ran into a big pair behind him.
Absolutely, and he may get lucky. Who knows?
He's going to have to get lucky. Otherwise, he'll be out in 6th place.
Here comes the flop.
Well, it's a 6-4 deuce. That's actually a good flop for Bob because now he can catch 1 of 4 threes to make a straight and also win this pot.
Or 5 or 3, and he's going to win this pot. Can the man that built the Stratosphere Hotel in Vegas get lucky here today?
He actually has 5 cards in the deck he can catch to win this pot.
Here it comes. Not yet. He's not going to do it. A pair of 4s on the board now.
Now, Bob Stupak needs a 3 or a 5, or he will be our 6th place finisher.
Here it is.
And there it goes. It's bye-bye, Bob.
Oh, it is over for Bob.
Can we have a round of applause?
Bob Stupak, Las Vegas legend,
our 6th place finisher.
is going to go out in 6th place. He is going to take home $46,000.
And he is walking away a disappointed man.
Well, one thing about Bob Stupak, he made a bet. He took 5 to 1 that he would make it to the money, the top 18 places in this tournament before it started. He bet $10,000 on himself. He won $50,000 by making it to the top 18 places. So all's not bad for Bob Stupak. Don't feel too sorry for him.
Oh, man, this guy bets on himself that he's going to make the final table.
You got to love it. You got to love it.
He's great.
Okay, I'm here with Bob Stupak. You're the first one out. Tell us what happened in the hand.
I had 2 5s, put all my money in. Didn't hold up. Somebody had 2 jacks that go out blasting, never go out calling.
By knocking out Bob Stupak, Andy Block has moved into 2nd chip position and increased his chances to win this tournament.
Well, this is one happy guy. He is playing with supreme confidence, Mike. Now look at this. Gus Hansen, first to act. He has an 8-9.
Approximately 20,000.
Okay, he's consistent. He's going to raise it.
This guy is a relentless warrior, Vince. There's no doubt about it. He just fires and fires and fires at pots.
Now, Andy's got a nothing hand, a 9 and a deuce.
He folds.
Yes.
Now, Steve Skolnick, who has to make a move soon. The guy's down to 20,000 in chips. Says, oh, I can't even hardly get through a round or 2 of blinds.
Well, this time he's got a queen 3 of clubs.
You raise again.
He's thinking about it. He's got to make a move, like you said.
I'm gonna double through you. It's okay.
Wow, he's going to do it here, Mike.
Well, he says he's going to do it, but
Gus has raised 18,000.
talking and doing is 2 different things.
He's doing a little Hollywood fake there, I guess.
Not this guy.
David's got 5-4 spades. He's
and he
out.
folds.
David folds.
Daniel Rentzer, our chip leader, has picked up a pair of 3s.
18.
Now, he's in the big blind, so he's going to call a bet here.
And when you say that big blind, that means that you actually have to put in money before the flop to instigate action. So he's already involved in the pot.
Correct. He had 6,000 out there. The bet was 18,000 by Gus. He called 12,000 more. Here comes the flop.
Okay.
It's 2 3s versus an 8-9.
The flop comes.
Now the flop comes Queen 10-6.
6.
Now this gives Gus a double belly buster straight. In other words, he can catch a jack for a straight or a 7 for a straight.
And look at the guts of this Daniel. He's coming out and betting it with just a pair of 3s.
Daniel has let out and bet with 2 3s here in this pot.
And you're right. Gus has
Daniel
2
raises
shots at getting it
18,000,
straight.
or bets 18,000.
18,000 was the bet by Daniel. And Gus is going to call to try to make this straight. He's called 18,000 here.
Calls.
And Daniel can't feel too good about his 2 threes now.
The turn card.
Now the board pairs
comes the six of
sixes.
clubs.
Now this is interesting because Daniel's actually in front with 3s and 6s.
Well, Daniel checks here.
Gus has got a possibility of a hand.
Now, Gus could take a free card off here to try to make this straight for nothing.
That's not this guy's style, though. This guy's like an old riverboat gambler.
But remember, the guy called a raise before the flop. He let out and bet on the flop. You think that slows Gus down? Sure doesn't look like it.
36.
Oh, this guy is beautiful. What
He
a
does.
piece of work.
I'm telling you.
He's betting into Daniel.
36,000 he's bet.
Wow, look at this call.
Now, this is amazing to me. What a call right here by Daniel.
Gus bets.
This is a great read on Gus.
He has called 36,000 here with a pair of 3s, folks.
Now, I totally respect this kid now. This is an amazing... How does he do that?
The river is a deuce of
Now,
diamonds.
the last card off is the deuce of diamonds.
Daniel checks it. What's Gus going to do this time? Did not make his hand.
Well, Gus knows he's going to have to bet at this pot to win it, but...
He could get called down.
Can you really pull the trigger here with absolutely nothing like Gus has and bet again?
This is what poker's all about, heart and guts, and reading your opponent.
Well, you may criticize Gus for some things, but you will never, ever, ever criticize this guy for not having heart and guts. And he's done it.
Oh, man. He's doing it again.
Now look at this. Daniel is not even hesitating.
No, he can't be calling this. This is a great poker play both ways.
He called on 4th Street thinking he had the best hand. He's called again on 5th Street thinking he has the best hand. He has 2 3s. Good call,
It's
Gus.
an amazing call.
A pair of 3s.
That's poker.
Good.
Daniel was confident he had the best hand there. He didn't even hesitate to call that 50,000.
Hey, you know what? If you're Daniel Renser, quit school right now and stay in a poker casino. That's it. That's a great call.
I bet you have got to be impressed with the play of Daniel Renser there. With that pot, he has moved into a commanding chip position lead. He has over 700,000 in chips. And Steve Skolnick is on the respirator with only 10,000. And his chances of winning this tournament, I would say, were about the equivalent if he had to stand at the mid-court of the basketball court and make a half-court shot. It can be done, but it's a long shot.
I'm looking to get hot at the final table. I hope I'm due for a rush, and hopefully I'll get one and be able to play it through and win it.
Well, Vince, there's a saying in the poker world, all you need to win a poker tournament is a chip and a chair.
That is correct, Mike. All you got to do is just keep firing those chips.
40,000.
And speaking of firing chips in the pot,
Daniel's
here
gonna
comes
make it
Daniel Renser. He's not
40,000.
afraid to play either. This time he has a big hand, though. Ace-king.
And Gus has got 8-5.
passes.
He's going to throw it away.
Just trying to steal your blind, Steve.
Andy folds.
Andy folds.
I can't get a hand either.
And Steve can't play at all.
Now the Dragon has a big decision here. David has king-queen of spades.
Yes, he does. Suited king-queen. That's a big hand.
Now keep in mind, David only has 84,000 in chips. The bet is 40,000. So what that means is, if he plays this pot, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't put all his chips in the pot. And David opts to fold.
The Dragon's laying down king-queen of spade. That is an astute laydown.
What a great laydown it is, Vince. That's king-queen against ace-king. David the Dragon fam. This is why he's such a great no-limit hold'em player.
I got plan, but if I got unlucky, nothing I can do, but I hope I got chance to win.
You're going to see anyways. There is a mix.
Oh, back to the next hand, and Gus has got a jack-4 offsuit.
Gus is first to act.
And Gus, the man from Denmark, is going to come out and raise.
Look at this. First position. He comes out raising with a jack-4 offsuit. This is just amazing to me.
Yeah, but this could be Andy time because he has just picked up a pair of 9s.
Wow.
It's a nice hand.
It is a nice hand.
He's going to call it.
And he is going to play.
Andy calls the 17,000.
Steve Skolnick.
Calls 17,000. Now here comes Steve again.
Works in Hollywood, and he's going to continue to work in Hollywood because he can't pick up any cards. He's got 7 jack. What are you going to do? David's going out with ace deuce, and we got 2 players here.
Gus and Andy one more time battling each other.
Here comes the flop.
Flop comes
Flop is
10-4-3.
10-4-3.
3 different suits.
Now this gives Gus a pair of 4s, but Andy has a pair of 9s. Gus is getting out his chips.
Oh, yeah. He's just doing that little stack job.
And he does it. 20,000 he fires out there.
And Gus bets 20,000.
Mr. Deception.
Andy
And
calls.
Andy calls.
He's like a block wall. Mr. Andy Block. Can't get around him. Can't go through him.
Now a queen.
Now a queen comes off on 4th Street. Gus checks, Andy checks.
Check. Last card is an 8.
Last card is an 8. Gus checks, Andy checks. Andy's going to win this pot.
And he's going to like this. Yeah, the 9s are going to hold up, just like your 10s held up earlier
Pocket 9's
on.
going to win this
Well,
pot.
Andy Block has held over Gus, as we say. He's always seemed to have a hand every time Gus comes out there betting, but still, these are some tough calls he's got to make also.
Well, the thing is Gus is just kind of setting these guys up, because even when you get called down and lose that kind of pot, he's telling the table, listen, I'm going to play Jack 4, I'm going to play crazy, so call me next time. And he's got to hope that he hits a big hand and he can trap him later on down the line.
He may be trying to set him up, but in the meantime, his chips are going down. Andy's are going up. Daniels are going up. They're the 2 chip leaders of this tournament right now.
We're going to take a little break here with the LA Poker Classic. Commerce Casino coming right back on the World Poker Tour.
We're at the Commerce Casino in Los Angeles for the LA Poker Classic here on the World Poker Tour. A Vegas legend has busted out, leaving 5 players left to battle for high stakes and a huge payday. First prize today is more than $500,000.
Andy Block is going to be in the hot seat. He's got to look at his cards first.
Peeks at an 8-10 offsuit. He folds.
Andy passes.
Oh, well, here it is. Steve has finally got a decent hand. He's got Queen 8 of hearts.
He's going to stand up now.
He stands up with the Queen 8 of hearts.
Yes, he is.
In honor of Umberto, all in.
There you go, all in. All in, like they do in Costa Rica. They stand up and they push their hands forward, and he slams his last 5,000 in chips. He bangs them in the center of the table.
Look at this. Everyone's going away, but Daniel's coming in with a pair of 7s. Now you got Gus still sticking around.
Come on, triple me up. Give me protection.
Gus Hansen has a 3 and a 5.
Just check.
He's in.
Steve Skolnick is all in. He's standing up.
This is very interesting, Mike. There is a side pot going on here. Now, Steve can only win what he's put in, but the rest of the guys, Gus and Daniel, have a side pot, and this pot could continue.
Steve all in.
Now look at this flop. Oh, this is huge for Gus. He makes 3 of a kind.
Flop comes 10-3-3.
And he's checking it. He's sandbagging here.
Check.
Now, Daniel checked 2 7s there.
On the turn.
A queen comes on the turn. Now look at Steve.
Well,
he hollers yell right here.
Do you like that,
Obviously,
queen?
the queen has hit him.
Yeah, he thinks he's won.
But in the meantime, this is totally unethical in that there's a side pot going. 2 guys have chips. Gus has flopped 3 3s. He's making a bet at this pot.
Uh-oh.
$12,000
where's the
bet.
side pot? Is this a side pot?
This is a side pot.
Daniel folds 2 7s here.
Yeah. Steve thinks he's still won at this point.
So now they're going to turn up their hand. Still's turned up the queen. He thinks he's won the pot. Now he sees the 3 3s.
He knows it's over. It is over.
Steve Skolnick needs a queen. He doesn't catch it. He is out. But look at the look on Gus's face. Gus is not a happy camper that Steve jumped up and started screaming when the queen hit, because that ran his opponent out of the pot.
Oh, well, I moved up a spot.
Well, Steve Skolnick is going to take a ride back to Hollywood, and Gus Hansen is coming back strong.
This guy is amazing.
Gus Hansen knows what it takes to win on the World Poker Tour. As champion of the inaugural WPT event at Bellagio, Hansen etched his name in poker history. Now, here in Commerce, Gus is after another crown in his usual aggressive style.
Of course, there's a strategy in placing higher because there's quite a big difference in the prices paid, 6-5 and so on. But my aggressive style definitely leads toward I'm going for 1 of 6.
Gus's wild poker style keeps his opponents guessing.
Can't really figure him out that well. Like most players, you can sort of get a read on them. He plays anything. I don't know what he's got, so he's a tough customer. Very dangerous.
He's definitely the most dangerous and most experienced player at the final table. He's who I really have to be careful with, and he's going to play a lot of hands and play them perfectly. And he can get away playing King 7 and Jack 5 and things like that because he's so good.
With the respect of all his opponents and one title already under his belt, Gus Hansen likes his odds.
There's a good chance. I mean, there's only 6 players left, and I'm second in chips. I definitely have a good shot. My aggressive style, I think there's a good chance some of the players are going to be a little bit intimidated. So hopefully they will, and I can come out on top.
We are down to our final 4 players now. Daniel Rinser, the Cinderella story of this tournament, has over $700,000 in chips. Now the price of poker has gone up, Vince. It's now a $2,000 ante, and the blinds are $5,000 and $10,000.
Daniel Renser's got 9-6.
And he folds. And here comes Gus. He's going to raise on position, but he has a hand this time, Vince. He's picked up ace-queen on the button.
Andy Block's got an ace and a 4 in his hand. But he knows Gus likes to splash around. So that's why he's even thinking about calling this hand. But Andy's going to let this one go. Mr. Pham, it's up to you, sir. He has an ace-8 in his hand.
Now he is the short stack here. He's seen Gus just continue to raise with nothing all the time. He's got to wonder if his ace-high is the best hand right here.
You know, the crazy thing is because Gus has been playing so ridiculously erratic, these guys are actually thinking to call with much less hands.
Moving in, 49 more.
He's going for it.
Oh, this is huge for Gus. Gus has got a superior hand at this time.
Gus quickly calls him. David the Dragon has moved all in with ace-8.
And he's up.
He's up against ace-queen.
Look at David. The tongue went out when he saw that. Doesn't like his position here.
He's going to have to get very lucky to win this pot.
The Dragon's going to need a miracle. Here we go. Flop comes deuce 3-5. No help to the Dragon. He needs an 8 to beat Gus, or he could tie if a 4 comes off.
A 7 comes off. Oh. David now has to catch an 8 or a 4, or he's out of this tournament.
You're right.
It's a key.
It's over. He's gone. It is over for Mr. Pham. 4th place. Picks up $80,000.
That's back-to-back knockout blows, Vince. Unbelievable.
Gus Hansen has done it. He has eliminated the Dragon. He is out of the tournament. Gus Hansen, a spectacular player. This guy just doesn't play by the book, Mike.
It amazes me where Gus Hansen gets some of these moves. I mean, the way he just took out David Pham. Wow.
Incredible. You know, there really has been a revolution in the poker world, and a lot of that knowledge comes from books. Let's go to Shauna Hyatt with another edition of the WPT Poker Corner. Shauna.
Thanks, guys. If you want to learn to beat the top poker players, you could spend thousands of dollars in tournaments before you even learn the game. Or you could head to your local library, where a world of poker knowledge awaits. When it comes to poker books, there's one that's so well respected, poker players just call it the Bible.
Doyle Brunson's Super Systems. It's the best book that has ever been written. Super Systems.
Doyle Brunson's book. Doyle Brunson's Bible. It's a great book.
Brunson's book may be at the top of most lists, but there are plenty of other choices for both amateurs and pros.
When I started playing poker, which is only 5 years ago, I went through all the books.
I think the best poker book for beginners is a book called Winning Low Limit Hold'em by Lee Jones.
Skolansky has a book called The Theory of Poker, which is a really good book.
For readers, they're going to be like, it's like an instant light bulb. Like, wow, read this and now you're going to know something like all the top books.
But there's only so much you can learn from books. There's no substitute for actual table experience.
Learning at the table is always the best, if you can retain it.
You need the book to kind of get a basic foundation of the game, I think. All you need to do is read one book, put in your time, and learn.
Okay, I know what I'm reading for the next few months. Mike?
We'll be right back with final table action at the Commerce Casino coming up here on the World Poker Tour.
Who jammed the copier?
Yeah.
AbsolutePoker.com. You in?
The big money drama continues from the Commerce Casino here on the World Poker Tour. A poker pro was the latest player sent packing, leaving 3 men to compete for the lion's share of $1.3 million and a seat at the WPT Championship worth millions.
Welcome back to the LA Poker Classic at the Commerce Casino. I'm Mike Sexton along with Vince Van Patten. Let's get back to the action at the table right here on the World Poker Tour.
Okay, next hand's going to be on Daniel. Now, Daniel's got an interesting hand. He's got a 5-4 suited connector, both diamonds. He's just going to call, actually.
So he just calls?
Now, Mr. No Hand at all has a hand, and he's just calling. And he's got 4-7.
We have a family pot.
Gus has got a pair of 9s. This guy mixes it up so beautifully. This time he doesn't raise.
Now, that's amazing.
Let's take a look at the flop.
2 9s in first position. He does not raise with it.
6 deuce, rainbow.
Now the flop comes 10-6 deuce.
And now Gus is betting with his pair of 9s.
Gus bets 20,000.
And
Gus leads out and bets 20,000 here.
And he threw his hand away. And Daniel, with an inside straight draw, is going to call.
Daniel's got the chips. He knows if he catches a 3, maybe he can bust him. That's what he's dreaming about. Now he catches a 5. He makes a pair of 5s here.
Yes, he does. Gus with the 9s checks it.
Gus checks. Daniel bets
Look at the heart of this Daniel.
Now Daniel bets 20,000. Now this really puts Gus to the test right here. There's an overcard. He understands that he bet the flop. The guy called him. There's also a possible straight on the board.
He does not look intimidated at all by Gus. I mean, he's betting into a WPT champion. He's doing it very nonchalantly.
This is a tough call for Gus right here. Now, we can see his cards. That's the beauty of the World Poker Tour. We know his 2 9s are the best hand, but if you're sitting in that seat and the man called you on the flop when a 10 is out there, an overcard, and then you check and he bets on 4th Street, your 2 9s shrink up a little bit, Vince. And he calls it. What a nice call right here by Gus Hansen.
Excellent call. He had a feeling he's in front, and he is in front at this point. Here's the last card.
Last card, a queen.
Now, the last card off is a queen.
Gus checks. 9s. And it gets checked behind.
Gus turns up 2 9s. They win the pot.
That's a brilliant play by Gus Hansen, calling that hand down.
Daniel says
he's going to whittle away at this, Daniel.
2 9s are going to win this pot.
Nice playing right there by Gus Hansen again.
And here's Sherry.
Okay, the action is on Andy. You have to be impressed with Andy Block, the way he's playing this tournament more confidently and aggressively than he did back at Foxwoods, Vince.
Well, you're right. He does seem to have a lot of confidence. The attorney from Maryland, but he was also a great blackjack player. The guy used to count cards in casinos.
Well, this guy has a bachelor's and master's degree in electrical engineering from MIT, as well as a law degree from Harvard.
Well, look at this. He's got Jack 10 of hearts, and he is raising it up. Daniel's going out with a 10-5. Gus has got 7-8 offsuit.
Now, Andy looks his head down there because his nemesis Gus is back in the pot again.
Well, this time, 7-8 versus Jack 10. We're going to see the flop again.
Flop is Queen, Jack.
Now, flop comes Queen, Jack, 4.
Andy Block's caught a pair of jacks. They check.
And it goes check, check. Now, deuce comes off.
On the turn.
Check.
Gus checks.
And he's got to know he's in front now.
Well, he's got the second pair here. It looks like Andy's going to bet at it. He does. Gus folds his hand, and Andy picks up the pot.
He's got to feel good about this. Finally taking one away from his nemesis, Gus.
You got to admire a guy like Andy. He has all these degrees, yet he prefers to play the poker circuit and become a professional gambler. Vince, what about that?
I don't blame him. I mean, if you could play poker for a living, who wouldn't do it? There's a lot of attorneys out there. How many great poker players are there?
Vince, you mentioned earlier that the Commerce Casino is the poker capital of the world.
That's true. In fact, our host, Shauna Hyatt, spent some time checking out the sights and the sounds of this unique casino. Shauna.
Thanks, guys. The Commerce Casino is known all over the world for one thing and one thing only, poker. So if you want a game, anytime, day or night, you can find it here. So what makes the casino so special?
The special thing about Commerce is that it's in the middle of Los Angeles. People that come and visit this area and they're interested in playing blackjack or poker, they don't need to go to Las Vegas. They can play right here in the middle of Los Angeles.
What can a poker player expect when they come here to this casino?
They're going to be treated right. Our slogan is LA's friendliest. Every time you come in, it's going to be like going to your local restaurant that you like to visit. We also have a health spa, so they can go in and get a massage and relax, and it's a nice amenity for our customers.
All right, tell me a little bit about the high-stakes gaming that you have at the Commerce.
We have more poker games than any other casino in the world. However much money you would like to gamble, we provide the action. We have a lot more poker than you can find in Las Vegas, so if that's your game, you have to come and see Commerce Casino.
So the next time you get that hankering for a little high-stakes poker action at, say, 3 in the morning, you know where to come. Back to you, Mike and Vince.
So Andy Block puts up a roadblock in front of Gus Hansen.
Yes, but we've seen Gus Hansen come back before, and we want you at home to come back after we pause for just a moment.
You're watching the LA Poker Classic on the World Poker Tour.
Watching the World Poker Tour. This week, we're at the Commerce Casino for the LA Poker Classic, where a former lawyer is hoping to make his case for victory. Andy Block knows he'll eventually have to deal with past WPT winner Gus Hansen. But what about the X Factor? Amateur Daniel Renzer is showing he belongs at the final table. The stakes are high. First prize today is more than $500,000. So every hand is crucial. Now, back to the action with Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten.
Okay, Andy's the first to act here.
Well, this time he's got Jack 5, Jacks and 5s, and he's going out. Daniel's got a 10-queen offsuit, and he's going to raise it.
Daniel makes it 45,000.
And he's made a big bet here, 45,000. And now Gus with an ace-3 offsuit, not the biggest of hands.
With an ace and a 3. Now this is unorthodox poker. This would not be in the books, of course. But we've seen it time and time again. This World Poker Tour champion plays these kind of hands, raises with these hands, and look at this. He's doing it again. He's going to call it.
So right now we have 100,000 in the pot. We're going to have a flop here.
Let's see who gets lucky.
Gus has ace-3. Daniel has queen 10. And here comes a flop. It comes an ace.
Oh, yeah.
Ace-7-4. Daniel quickly comes in there and bets 40,000.
He's trying to steal this pot, but Gus has got a big hand. He's got the aces. Look at him checking it.
But he has a very weak kicker.
That's the second card.
The 3 is not a good card for his hand. Does he want to get involved with 2 aces with such a weak kicker when his opponent has come out and bet on the flop? Look, he takes a deep breath.
Now, Daniel's trying to say he has an ace with a bigger kicker. That's what he wants to make Gus believe. But, of course, we know he doesn't. We get to see his cards. He's only got a 10-queen in his hand. Gus has got the aces.
Well, Gus is thinking now, did I really want to call this hand? With an ace and a 3, now I've hit the ace, and now I still don't know what to do.
The thing is, Gus could lose all his money in this one hand. You play this wrong. And that's why table stakes, no-limit poker, is so fascinating. Look at this. Gus is going to call it.
Gus has called him. And look at the look on Daniel's face. He's not too happy.
Oh, man.
He's bluffing. He only has a queen and a 10, remember.
That hurts inside. And here's the 4th street.
An 8 comes off. That's no help to either player.
Now, can Daniel continue to bet and try to bluff at this? He does.
He's bet 40,000. Now, that's not a very large bet into a pot that's nearly 200,000. And Gus picks up on it. Gus picks up on it quickly. He calls 40,000 very quickly there. Now, Daniel is sick now. He's bet at this pot twice.
The river card, deuce of hearts.
A deuce comes off. That's no help. Daniel knows that if he bets here, Gus is probably going to call him.
Go ahead, man. Check.
Essentially, Daniel's given up here. He surrendered. He says, okay, you got me. You called me down twice. I tried to bluff at this pot 3 times.
All right. Queen high.
You got me every time. Gus checks. Gus turns up the 2 aces, and he wins the pot.
Oh, it's a miserable look by Daniel, and I don't blame him. He tried to take a shot at this pot.
And Gus takes the chip lead by winning this pot.
A pair of aces with a 3.
That's how it happens here on the World Poker Tour. One big hand like that.
That was a nice pot. There's about 260,000 in that pot, Vince. Really, really good reading by Gus Hansen right there.
Back on Gus. Let's see what he does this time.
Look at that empire he's building around the corner. It's going clear around the corner. It's going to be an Andy stack here in a minute.
Well, look at this. He threw away a hand. He threw away King 4. And Andy finally gets an opportunity with a Jack 4 suited.
Andy calls the big blind.
Daniel's got 6-7 of hearts.
And Daniel checks.
Here's the flop.
The flop is
8-9-9 has come up.
8-9-9.
This gives us an open-ended straight draw to Daniel. That gives Andy block basically nothing.
Andy checks.
Okay, Daniel's going to bet it.
Daniel has come out and bet this
Daniel
pot
bets
10,000. That's the minimum amount that you can bet now because that's the size of the big blind. And Andy senses weakness, and look at this. Andy is re-raising right here with nothing. He's coming over the top of Daniel. A $40,000 bet.
Now, this is a great play. I mean, he's just absolutely right. He's going to try to take this pot. And he's going to.
And he does. Daniel lays down the open-end straight draw. Vince, I love the instincts that Andy showed right there. He came over the top because he sensed his opponent was weak, which he was. And he picks up a nice pot right there.
That's right, and Shauna's got a chance to talk to this sophisticated attorney from Maryland. Shauna.
He's a lawyer and an MIT graduate. So it's no wonder Andy Block takes a very intellectual approach to poker.
My style is highly mathematical. It's based on game theory. But I adjust it based on my opponents, and I try to occasionally pick off tells from my opponents.
Andy finished third when the World Poker Tour visited Foxwoods earlier this year. At that tournament, Andy's family was there to support him, and he likes to return the favor whenever possible.
I actually take care of my niece frequently. I babysit for her, and it's been really wonderful to see her grow up.
But when he's not busy being Uncle Andy, you can find him at the poker table, using his keen intellect to take home big paydays.
Andy's tough because he only moves all in. He doesn't make plays and he doesn't fart around. Gus is dangerous because he makes plays and fart around and it's hard to know what he's got. Andy goes in with the nuts.
He'll need the nuts if he's going to come out on top today. But Andy thinks his previous final table experience will help.
Every time you make a final table in a $10,000 event or any major poker event, you learn a lot of things. There really is no substitute for that.
Vince, I'll tell you something. Andy Block is one of the nicest guys on the World Poker Tour.
That's very true. He's a very nice guy. But nice guys usually go broke in poker, let's face it. Now, he's made the top 3, but can he beat cutthroat players like Daniel Renser or Gus Hansen?
Well, we've got a lot more to come here from the LA Poker Classic at the Commerce Casino. You're watching the World Poker Tour.
$1.3 million at stake. More than $500,000 will be awarded to the winner of the LA Poker Classic here on the World Poker Tour. And it's down to a 3-way battle between 2 poker pros and an amateur who's making an incredible run.
Here comes Andy again. He's got ace-queen this time, Mike.
Nice hand on the button.
30,000.
He's going to raise it. He comes in for 30,000.
Daniel's got a 9-jack. He chooses not to play this time.
He's going to step back and catch his breath a minute here.
And Mr. Unpredictable.
So here comes Gus. He's got the 10-6 of diamonds. Bang, he doesn't even hesitate. He fires his chips in the pot and calls.
That's a huge hand for Gus.
Gus loves to see flops. He loves to see flops. He's a flop man. We should call him Flop.
Oh, man, and he knows how to play them. Here we go.
Now, flop is 9-9 jack.
Now, look at Daniel. Actually, if he'd have called, he'd have flopped a full house.
That's the truth. In the meantime, Gus has a 10-6. Andy has ace-queen. Look, Andy won't even look over.
He's not even looking anymore. He doesn't want to look at Gus anymore. Sick of him.
He just wants to hear Gus check from now on. He never wants to see Gus bet anymore. And he checks behind him. He goes check, check.
4th card.
Now, king goes on the turn.
So it gives an inside straight draw to Andy.
Now, these are all big cards out there. Gus checks. And Andy checks.
He doesn't want any part of the unpredictable Gus.
The river card is a jack.
Now the jack of hearts comes on the end. So Gus is going to be playing the board. Andy's going to win the pot with ace high.
Andy checks.
But I notice Andy's getting a little bit timid when he plays Gus now.
Absolutely. And maybe he smells a rat. He doesn't want to get trapped again. And look at this smile. He bluffed one. He won one with ace high. Things are good for Andy Block right now. Okay, on Daniel. He's got queen 10. I think he's got to be a little aggravated that he folded a jack 9 last hand. Gus Hansen has an ace deuce of diamonds, and he's going to call it.
And Andy checks.
And Andy's going to be in with a 3 deuce.
So we're going to have a 3-handed pot here. Let's see what the flop brings us.
The flop comes Jack
9-6.
3 different suits.
Now this gives Daniel an open-end straight draw.
Check.
Now Gus checks on the flop. He just has ace deuce of diamonds.
Here comes Daniel. He's going to bet.
Well, he has an open-end straight draw. Gus has ace deuce, and he folds. Andy folds.
So does Andy.
Daniel picks up the pot.
You see that sometimes you can win a hand even when you haven't made your hand yet. Daniel knows that.
Well, that was a nice bet by Daniel there, and he finally gives us a smile. It's been a while since he won a pot here.
He's the X factor of the final table, an unknown who won a super satellite tournament to compete for a place among poker's elite. So who is Daniel Renser? When he's not playing poker, Dan is a business student at Pepperdine University. And like many poker greats, his family played a big part in shaping his love of the game.
My brother started when he was about 12 and I was like 9, and I used to play poker with him for pennies and stuff, 5-card draw, 7-card stud. And just escalated from there.
His brother taught him the basics of the game, but Daniel never stopped studying poker.
I've been studying the game for a long, long time, so all the big names are all pretty much my heroes. TJ Cloutier, Amarillo Slim, Doyle Brunson. I've been watching them forever. I've read all their books and stuff, so they all pretty much push me, to play better.
Dan used those lessons here at Commerce to bust former world champion Carlos Mortensen.
I had ace-king suited and he had pocket queens. Then he came over the top and he re-raised me by another 100,000 chips. And I just moved all in because I figured he was just trying to outplay me, trying to muscle me or something. And then he had a better hand and I got lucky. I caught the ace and it just boosted me way up in all my chips.
Although Daniel loves poker, he's not focusing on turning pro. Instead, he's happy to play the occasional tournament, letting the chips fall where they may.
I just love playing poker, Poker's just, it's draining, but it's fun. It's fun.
Right now, our current chip standing, Gus Hansen is the chip leader with about 570,000 in chips. Daniel's in second place with about 440,000, and Andy's in third place with about 350,000. It's anybody's game, Vince.
For Daniel, the dream is still alive.
And Gus has the button
Gus is
now.
going to take a look at his hand. He's got a 3-10 of clubs. Look at him. This guy doesn't know what throwaway means.
32,000.
He raises it with a 10-3.
Andy Block has picked up an ace and a 10, and that's a pretty good hand, 3-handed. Now, he'd really love to snag Gus at one of these big pots.
Well, he's trying him again. He's going to call him with the ace-10.
Battle of wits between these two guys.
Daniel folds. He has an 8-5. So once again, we're going to have a pot between Gus and Andy. Andy doesn't know it, but he's in a dominating position. It's ace-10 versus 10-3.
Flop comes Jack, 5.
Sure enough. Gus has flopped a 3.
He's got a little pair.
Now, he just has the bottom pair.
Andy checks.
Andy checks, and Gus checks right behind him.
4-3 comes up. Oh, no.
Now a 10 comes off. Now this gives Gus 2 pair, but it gives Andy a pair of 10s with an ace kicker. Andy has checked this card. Gus has 2 pair, and he's reaching for chips.
Now this is a potential disaster for Andy Block.
Yes, it is. This 10 could get him in big trouble here, but we'll see. Gus bets 35,000. Now Gus has 2 pair, 10s and 3s. Andy has an ace and a 10.
And look at this. He can't wait to get his chips in there.
Well, I'd call too if I was him. He called for 35,000. He doesn't know the guy's got 10s and 3s.
Yeah, but even a jack beats you.
Well,
here we go.
Now
last card. Oh, man.
3 comes off. Whoa.
Hallelujah. For Gus Hansen, he's just hit a full house on the last card.
I'll tell you, this is amazing.
Andy
and Andy checks it.
Andy checks it.
Now, Andy's got 10s and 3s with an ace kicker.
Now, it doesn't look like this card could have hurt Andy's hand. Now, Gus is certainly going to bet. It's just a matter of how much.
Oh, yeah, he's doing a little acting job here.
140.
Well, here it is.
Gus bets
There it is. He's going to bet 140,000. He said 140,000 is a big bet right now, especially for Andy. More than half his stack will be going in this pot here.
Oh, he doesn't want to scare Andy away. He wants this call desperately.
Well, I'm telling you, if you're sitting in Andy's seat, you have a tough decision here. I mean, you really got to believe that your 2-10s with the ace kicker is the best hand. Remember, Gus didn't bet this flop when it come Jack 5-3. He bet when the 10 came on the turn. Now, the 10 was a good card for Andy because it gave him 2-10s with an ace kicker.
It's like he's putting Andy's head in a vice. This is a tough position to be in.
Andy Block is faced with a big, big decision right now in this tournament. Will he make a big laydown here, or will he call? What a nice bet by Gus here, 140,000. It looks like he's stealing the pot, you know.
Right.
If you're sitting in Andy's seat, you think, is this guy stealing? Did he have a draw on 4th Street?
Well, that's the great thing about Gus's game. It's so unpredictable. He's moving around so fast, you don't know when he has a hand or not.
I mean, you can really see the dilemma Andy is in here. And believe me, folks, he is in a dilemma.
$500,000 for the first prize here, over $500,000.
I mean, we know he doesn't have the best hand, but I can tell you, if you're sitting in Andy's seat, you got to think 2-10s with an ace kicker. The way this hand was played is probably the best hand. This will be a big, big laydown if he makes this laydown. He's not making it. He's calling.
He's going to call it.
He's not going to like it either.
Andy says call.
Andy Block is called.
Oh!
Gus turns up the full house.
That's got to be a brutal feeling for Andy Block.
Yeah.
Though you didn't see much emotion, you know he's feeling it inside. Stomach churning. You know something? It would have been a great laydown, but how do you make that kind of laydown?
You know, Gus raised this pot with a 10 and 3. Right now, Andy's saying to himself, you know, if I'd have re-raised right there, I could have won the pot right there. On the other hand, had Gus bet on the flop when he had the bottom pair, Andy would have thrown the hand away and not lost any money. It would have been a very big laydown to make it the river there.
They object.
Well, Vince, Andy objects, but his skills as a lawyer don't help him here as Gus delivers a huge blow.
Buttons up on Andy now.
It's not slowing Andy down. Looks like he's coming back and raising. He's got an ace-8 offsuit here.
30,000.
He's going to make it 30,000.
Renewed confidence. Here he goes. Daniel Rentzer. It's going to be up to him. He's got a 3 and a 6.
What hand?
Well, Vince, Andy may pretend like he's forgotten about that last hand, but you know it's still flashing through his mind like a bad dream.
This is true.
What hand? No.
Daniel's been kind of quiet lately when he's going to throw this one away.
Well, he's stepping out of the way and letting these two guys clash, that's for sure.
Now, Gus Hansen has a pretty good hand for him, a king and a jack offsuit.
He's got a code jack.
Look at the look on Andy. Frustrated from that last beat.
Now it's 20,000 more for him to call.
I'm all in.
Gus says
He's
I'm
all in. He says he's all in.
What?
Gus Hansen has gone all in. And look, Andy doesn't even hesitate. I'm amazed Andy put his money in there that quick with ace-8 offsuit.
I think Gus is even shocked he did.
King Jack for Gus.
He just fired it in there with ace-8, and it turns out he has the best hand.
When you talk about a little frustration, I think he's just hot under the collar. He's calling quickly. How many times have we seen this on the World Poker Tour? A guy takes a bad beat, and the next hand he plays awfully aggressive. He is in front at this point, though.
He is. He's about a 60% favorite to win this pot. When we come back from commercial, we'll see if he's going to hold up and double up and get back in this tournament, or if Andy Block will be our third-place finisher.
Don't go away. We'll be right back from the Commerce Casino, the LA Poker Classic on the World Poker Tour. Stay tuned.
We're back at the LA Poker Classic here on the World Poker Tour. Lawyer Andy Block is making a stand. He's taking an ace into battle against Gus Hansen's King and Jack. And the stakes are high. The winner has a shot at today's $500,000 first prize.
Welcome back. And Vince, right now, Andy Block is all in. He's either going to double up or be out of this tournament. He's the favorite. He's about a 60% favorite with an ace-8 against Gus Hansen's King Jack.
He's got to love this position. He's got Gus where he wants him. I think Gus was a little shocked that he called so quickly. We're going to see a flop. Here it comes.
Oh, Jack.
Whoa!
First card off is a jack. Andy is in a daze right now. He knows he needs an ace now to win this pot.
Gus has made a huge flop.
It could come a 9 and a 10. He'll make a straight.
Now there's a 10
Well,
on
there's a
4th
10.
Street.
He can now catch a 9, a club, or an ace to stay alive in this tournament. If he doesn't, he will be our third place finisher.
Look at Gus is just smiling. He loves the competition. We're going to see the last card coming up. Here's the river.
A 9 will give him a straight. An ace gives him the win. It's not to be. It's a queen.
It's over for Andy Block.
Bang, bang. A left and a right by Gus Hansen to Andy Block right there. Andy Block is our third place finisher. And Vince, for the second time on the World Poker Tour, Andy Block has finished third.
Oh, man, he is shaking hands there. What can he do? He shrugs. Went in there with an ace-8. How does Gus Hansen come over the top, all in with a king-jack? Who knows? Anyway, he's taking the money. Look at those chips.
Well, Gus knows how to play momentum as well as any poker player you'll ever see. He played momentum there. He wins the pot. And Andy Block goes home in third position. He will take home $125,000. We are down to our final two players. And as they say, Vince, everything's funny when you got plenty of money. And look at it. Here it comes in the arena now. That's Caesar and Cleopatra.
And I'll tell you something. This is going to be an amazing matchup. Look at that cash. It looks like Ivana Trump's weekly allowance there. Lots of cash out there. Over $500,000. These guys are going heads up. This is going to be fun.
Whoever comes in second will get over $250,000. Whoever wins this tournament gets over $500,000. What a parlay this is going to be for Daniel Rentzer, whatever happens. Okay, Vince, here we go. The cash is on the table. The title's on the line. Gus Hansen, a former World Poker Tour champion, versus the Cinderella, Daniel Rentzer. Will he wear the glass slipper when the day is over? He certainly has a shot right now to capture this title.
You're going to see a lot of Daniel Rentzer. This guy has made the WPT Championship at Bellagio. Even if he doesn't win this event today, that's because Gus Hansen already has an entry into that. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of this young poker superstar. Gus Hansen, the poker savant against the boy wonder. What's going to happen?
Right now, Gus has slightly over 2-1 chip lead, but Vince, as you know how quickly the momentum can change in no-limit poker. If Daniel wins one pot, for example, he'll have nearly a 2-1 chip over Gus.
And Daniel's got a 10-8 of spades this time, and he's looking it over.
And he's going to call.
Daniel calls.
Gus Hansen.
Gus picks up a 7-8. And he checks. So we're going to have a flop here. Gus has 8-7. Daniel has 10-8 of spade. Here we go.
The flop is
and the flop comes Queen-8 deuce.
Oh, that's a very interesting flop.
So both players have flopped a pair of 8s. And Gus comes out betting 10,000.
And they both got a pair of 8s, but whose kicker is bigger at this point? It would be Daniel's. He's got the 10 second card.
And he calls the bet. So Gus is bet. Daniel is called.
The turn card is
on the turn comes the 6 of spade.
Now what's Gus going to do? This guy is a fearless poker player. He's going to bet out again.
There's 2 hearts on the board.
Gus makes it 20,000.
No help to either player. Gus bets 20,000. And here comes Daniel. He's calling 20,000. Now remember, they both have a pair of 8s. But as you pointed out, Daniel has the 10 kicker, the better kicker. Whereas Gus has a 7 kicker.
Card.
Last card coming up.
Queen of diamonds.
And look at this. The board pairs queens.
Oh, man. That's going to make the kicker especially important here.
Check.
Go ahead.
They check.
And check.
8s.
What's your kicker?
It's weak.
I got a 10.
And you're going to see right here that the 10 kicker, remember you play 5 cards in poker, so they're both playing queens and 8s, but Daniel gets to play his 10, Gus has to play his 7. The pot will go to Daniel because he has the bigger kicker.
The Miracle Kid takes the first heads-up pot. The kid from L.A. is going to take a nice one.
Well, Vince, as they say in poker, it pays to have a kicker. You saw it right here.
Oh, Mike, it's kind of amazing. If you're looking out there and you're saying, hey, what are these guys playing? Well, I'll tell you what they're playing. Not just their cards, but they're playing on feel and a lot of heart. All right, it's going to be on Gus first. He has a 10 queen this time, Mike.
I think Daniel recognizes that if he's going to play against Gus, he's got to get in there and gamble some because Gus does all the time. And here comes Gus raising this pot, 30,000 he bets,
30,000.
with a queen 10.
Now Daniel's got an 8 and a queen of diamonds.
And look at this. He has bet 100,000 with a queen 8. The queen 8 of diamonds.
Daniel raises.
I'm telling you, Vince, winning that last pot put some pep in Daniel's step. He has raised Gus 100,000 here with a queen 8.
Well, he's doing a little bit of Gus. This is a Gus move right now.
Now, because we can see their cards, Vince, we know that he is a big underdog to Gus's hands, a queen 8 against a queen 10. But certainly if you're sitting in Gus's seat, a queen 10 doesn't look too good when your opponent's re-raised you 100,000.
Well, this kid has nerves of steel, and it's going to pay off here. He's going to take
And
this
he
pot.
folds.
Gus lays it down.
Gus folds. I think you have to lay it down. You just have to give the kid credit for making a bet like that.
Well, you know what's amazing? Let's not forget this kid did not come in here with $10,000 entry fee. He came in with $200 and a satellite. He's parlayed it into this tournament. He's heads up going for over $500,000 and a World Poker Tour title. This is a pretty amazing display of poker. I tell you, if he wins this tournament, he's going to have some interesting phone calls to his buddies back in college. Daniel this time has ace-4 of spades.
Pretty good hand heads up right here. He just calls. That surprised me. Most players would raise in that spot.
Gus Hansen has a terrible hand, a 3-deuce. And look at the flop.
Flop is
Now,
king,
this certainly is
queen,
no help to
9,
Gus. It
green
comes
hole.
king, queen, 9. And look at Gus. He bets out with a 3-deuce, the worst possible hand you can have. And Daniel folds his cards. Daniel has ace high and lays it down.
Gus bets.
An amazing play right there by Gus Hansen to bet into that pot.
Look at the little smile by Gus. He knows he had the worst possible hand he could possibly had. He just stole that pot.
Gus Hansen's quest to become a 2-time WPT champion is not over yet, not by a long shot.
We'll be back with more final table action at the LA Poker Classic here on the World Poker Tour.
You're watching the LA Poker Classic here on the World Poker Tour. Amateur Daniel Renzer is turning heads with a hot run to the final table. He came out of nowhere to challenge a past WPT champion, Gus Hansen. Can the business student close the deal? Let's get back to the action with Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten.
Action will be on Gus first. The guy on the button acts first. Now remember, he's got 5,000 in the pot. His opponent has 10,000 in it.
Now, what's interesting, he has a deuce 9 offsuit. Of course he's going to call.
Folks, you don't have to call. You are allowed to lay your hand down there.
Not in this game.
You know, but Gus calls with a 9-deuce offsuit. Whoa.
Now, Daniel's got a king 5 offsuit. Here's the flop.
2 diamonds.
Helps neither player.
Neither player has a thing here. Daniel checks.
Daniel checks.
And here comes Gus. He bets 10,000.
Gus bets 10,000.
Now look at this. Look at this. Gus has bet with absolutely nothing.
20,000 more,
And
total
Daniel has
30,000.
re-raised with absolutely nothing.
And he's going to push Gus out of the
and
pot.
he wins the pot.
Shows king
He
5.
check raised with nothing there
King 5
and picked up that pot, Daniel did.
Oh, man. Just buckle up your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the land of glitter, watching the art of the bluff masters at work. Okay, it's going to be on Daniel. They're going fast. He's got a king-queen in his hand this time.
Now, that's a nice hand. He comes in for 40,000 here.
Total raise.
Gus has got a king of spade, 10 of
40,000
hearts.
from Daniel on the button.
Gus has king 10. Daniel has king queen. And Gus is going to call.
Gus calls 30,000
Let's see
more.
if this pot spells trouble for Gus here. 84,000 in the pot. Flop comes
Flop is
977.
977. 3 different suits.
Gus checks.
That basically helps neither player, but Daniel's going to play it like it helped him.
25,000.
He bets 25,000. Now look at this. Gus is calling with the king 10 here.
What's he doing?
Well, he's either trying to set him up for a play or something. I don't know what he's doing.
Oh, there's the slot machine. 3 sevens on the board, and they both check.
Last card of
The last
queen.
card's a bingo for Daniel. He's made sevens full of queens here.
Gus checks.
Gus checks.
And look at his eyes just pop out of his head there. Got so excited when the queen came up. He's got a big hand here now.
Now, he's only betting 25,000. Now, keep in mind, there's 134,000 in the pot. That's a very small bet. Looks like he's begging for a call here. And for this price, Gus might want to just look him up just for reference on what he raised with and what he's betting with.
Gus Hansen doing tricks with the chips. He totally amazes me. This guy could be put in the circus the way he handles those chips.
Very curious as to what Daniel
He's
has.
gonna
He's going to
call.
look him up.
It's been called. He says full
Daniel
house.
turns over the queen.
Daniel has king queen.
Gus mucks his hand. I believe Gus called that as much for reference for future. You know, he just wanted to get information. He wanted to see how the guy's playing, what he raised with before the flop. Cost him $25,000, but he learned a lesson. Well, Daniel's made a nice comeback, Vince. He now has a nice lead.
Well, he's got a real shot here of taking this title. It's on Daniel. He's got ace-jack, Mike.
Very nice hand. Heads up, and he comes in for $50,000.
Total of 40.
The master of deception has an ace-6 offsuit.
50,000 total.
And look at this. Look at this. He's going to raise it, Mike.
Gus says he's going to re-raise.
Whoa, he sure is going to raise it.
50,000, he's going to re-raise.
Let's see how much it is.
100,000.
Another 100,000.
He's going to make it 150,000.
Now Daniel looks back at his ace-jack. It's cost him another 100,000.
Re-raise.
He's in a dominating position right here. He's got ace-jack versus ace-6.
The re-raise is 100,000.
He's got a pretty good hand, and look at this. He's not going to get pushed around. He's going to call it.
And he calls it. So right now we have ace-jack versus ace-6. There's over 300,000 in the pot. Stay tuned for the exciting conclusion of this hand on the World Poker Tour from the Commerce Casino.
George? Oh, hello, darling. You're early. I was just running Miss Stern here through the company's disciplinary procedures. She's new here, in charge of incentives and retribution. It's a new management concept, new and every week, boring. Anyway, Mildred, Miss Stern, my wife.
Bad poker face. Doesn't matter when you play online at partypoker.com. It's fun, it's easy, it's the world's largest poker room.
This is the LA Poker Classic on the World Poker Tour. A Vegas legend, a Hollywood craftsman, and two poker pros are gone. That leaves amateur Daniel Renzer in a heads-up battle against past WPT winner Gus Hansen. Only one of these men will walk away with the bigger slice of a $1.3 million prize pool.
Welcome back to the Commerce Casino in Los Angeles, California. We're watching two players go heads-up ace-jack against ace-6. We're going to see a flop. Very intriguing hand about to unfold.
Remember, there's over 300,000 in the pot. Here comes a flop. Flop is ace 9-8. Both players have made the pair, the top pair.
That's right.
The difference is Daniel has a jack kicker, whereas Gus only has a 6 kicker.
This is pretty amazing. This is the kind of hand that makes or breaks you in a tournament. Look at Gus. It's on him to act first. He's thinking about it. He's got a pair of aces. What would you do?
He's checking his 2 aces.
Pocket queens are no good.
And here comes Daniel.
Daniel looking confident.
Daniel's only betting 75,000 at this pot. Now there's over 300,000 in the pot, and yet he's only betting 75,000. Now that's a very peculiarly small bet for a pot this size, I think, at this stage of the tournament. In the meantime, Gus is now scratching his head. What is he going to do with an ace-6 here?
Well, this could be an absolute disaster if he decides to call this. He would be way behind at this point. Look at him scratching his head.
Well, his dilemma is he knows if his opponent's got an ace, he's going to have the worst hand.
This might take a little while.
He's joking around there. Trying to keep a little levity here. Loosen himself up.
He's not joking too much, I don't think. You're talking about serious bucks, and this pot is critical. Well, right now, Daniel Renzer is a big favorite to win this pot. He has ace-jack. He's up against ace-6. Of course, you don't know how Gus is going to play this hand.
This is a superstar poker player, Gus Hansen. He's won one World Poker Tour event already at Bellagio. Now look at what he's doing with the chips, the riffling of the chips. You see that? If you ever sit down at a poker game and you see someone do that, don't walk, run out of the casino, because that means you're going to lose all your money.
I'm telling you right now, he's in a bucket of boiling water. This is a huge pot developing right here, and Gus is going to call.
He's going to call.
Whoa.
Gus calls the 75,000.
We now have 454,000 in the pot, and Gus is in serious trouble right now.
Here we go. 4th Street coming up.
Next card
wow,
is
now the 4th Street's a 10 of clubs.
Oh, man.
Now this gives Gus the nut flush draw and a straight draw.
And he's going to check it.
Time, please.
Daniel still has the best hand and an open-end straight draw himself.
All right, go ahead.
And he checks.
He's going to check it too. Here we go on 5th Street.
So Gus is going to get a free draw at this hand, and he hits a 6.
Oh, no.
Gus Hansen has made aces and 6s in this pot.
What a killer card for Daniel. He's made aces and 6s. Gus has just pulled a miracle out of his pocket.
He sure has. He was in big trouble when this hand started, and right now, Daniel's in big trouble. Now, it gives Gus aces and 6s, top and bottom pair, but believe me, there's a lot of hands that can beat that right now.
200.
Gus is going to bet.
A healthy bet, too. That's $200,000 he has bet.
Daniel's going to call immediately. Look at this. He's coming in.
Ace is up.
He says aces. Aces up, aces
Gus
and
turns
sixes.
up aces and
He's got the
6s.
ace, 6 of clubs
And
against
Daniel
ace
throws the
jack.
ace-jack away.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
That's as bad as it gets there.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, Gus got awful lucky to hit that 6 on the end, but quite honestly, in poker's in life, you make your own breaks. I think Daniel could have played this pot a lot differently. He called the $200,000 at the river before he took his time. There's a lesson there, Vince.
Yeah.
You got to take your time. You got to think. You should review the betting before it's your turn to act. And what a pot that was, Vince. That was an $854,000 pot. That has really turned things around in this match. Momentum has switched back right to Gus's side with that pot. You see him sitting straighter up in his chair. He knows momentum is taking over. He delivered a serious blow to his opponent.
Yes, he has.
With that money, Gus Hansen takes the chip lead once again in this tournament.
Okay, Daniel has picked up a queen and a 4.
Queen 4 offsuit, but look at this.
He's going to call it.
Gus has 2 kings.
Oh, man. 2 cowboys, a real hand, and of course he's going to raise it.
That's $35,000.
Daniel quickly calls it.
I don't like that call,
This
I might
is
add.
called no fold'em hold'em here at the Commerce Club. Let's see a flop.
Flop comes 9-5-4. Now remember, Gus has 2 kings. Daniel has flopped the bottom pair. He has a pair of 4s.
Gus isn't wasting any time here. The big pair, it looks like he's going to set up and bet. He does. He fires.
Bets $30,000.
Daniel's got a little pair of 4s, but he's called.
He's called the $30,000.
Here comes 4th Street.
The turn card.
A jack comes up.
Jack comes up on the turn. No help to either player. Now, Gus checks 2 kings there.
Check.
Very interesting to me.
And the last card is a 3.
3 of clubs.
It's on Gus again. I think he's trying to trap him here a little bit.
Well, he has a pair of kings.
That's massive on a heads-up game at this point, especially the way these guys have been playing. The thing is, he acts the same way whether he has a good hand or he has a lousy hand. Guy's a great poker face. Can't learn that at home, Mike.
And look at Daniel cocking his head over there.
Daniel's got a silly pair of 4s.
Here he comes. He bet $60,000.
I hope you're bluffing again.
The glasses go off again, but he's quickly going to call it.
This is a mistake. He calls too quickly here. He fires $60,000 in there. He keeps trying to catch him bluffing. He doesn't do it. One more time. He got nobody to blame but himself for this pot. You just can't keep calling these raises pre-flop with weak hands trying to hit lightning in the bottle.
In the poker world, we call that tilt. You get one bad play, you come back a little steaming. For some reason, even if you think you're playing it right, you don't.
He dug his own grave in that hand.
He hasn't been the same guy ever since he got outdrawn with that aces and 6s. I mean, his game is much more impatient.
No.
He seems a little bitter, a little hostile inside.
No, you're seeing his inexperience show right now. Let's see if he can gather himself and get back in the hunt here.
You got to be so cautious at this point. One misstep and you're done. They're playing fast. Here we go again.
Daniel's not fooling around anymore. He's picked up a queen 10. He goes all in.
All right.
Gus is going to call him. Gus has picked up ace-jack.
This is going to do it. They're both all in. Ace-jack against queen 10.
Daniel knows he's in trouble now.
Daniel's up on his feet.
It's ace-jack versus queen 10.
Gus has
Daniel
ace-jack.
stretches, puts his arms behind his head. He knows he's an underdog. Here comes the flop.
Here it comes. Oh, yeah.
The 10 comes on the flop. Daniel has done it so far.
Yeah, he's got a pair of 10s. He's in front. He could double up.
Remember, if he wins this pot, it'll be over $400,000.
That's not going to help Gus any. Daniel's in front.
A big swing here.
He would love to take this pot.
He needs an ace or a jack. Whoa, a jack comes at the river.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Gus Hansen is hit lightning at the river.
It's over. Gus has done it. Two-time World Poker Tour champion hits the jack on the river.
Yep, he got lucky at the river there, but he did have the best hand when all the money went in, Vince.
Oh, man, Daniel is devastated on the side. Thought he was going to win that.
Yep. He's a little shell-shocked at the moment. He shrugs his shoulders. He tried his best. It just wasn't good enough today. Give Gus Hansen credit, though. He's a machine gun warrior that keeps firing chips at the pot. Daniel gave it his best go today. He misplayed just one or two hands, we thought, a little bit that might have cost him. He went on tilt just slightly near the end.
But I'll tell you something exciting. Daniel, good luck. You have another shot at Mr. Hansen because you are in the WPT Championship at Bellagio because Gus has already made it there before, so he's qualified now. He'll take a shot at millions of dollars at the Bellagio.
So Gus Hansen has taken the LA Poker Classic. He is truly a legend now in the poker world. This was his second World Poker Tour title. He's picked up over $500,000. And so for Mike Sexton, I'm Vince Van Patten saying, see you next time on the World Poker Tour. And just remember, if you can't spot the sucker at the table, you're it. So long till next time.